So you beautiful people, it's Trakky and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to convey my thoughts about Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Alpha and just give you my perspective on where I believe the game needs to be in the future, because currently it is in not a bad state, but it's not in a great state by any means, shape or form. In fact, it's quite mediocre at the moment for several reasons, but I do genuinely believe this game has a lot of potential. And the fact that Trakky have only had 2 years to develop this game, I am going to cut them some slack. Now, one thing I am adamant about in terms of the game is it's not going to be ready for release. The release date that it has, it's unrealistic to expect this game to be much better than its current state. And I believe it will need several updates after its release before we get the game that we believe it can be. I genuinely believe one thing from this game I've taken is that it's got bags and bags of potential. I enjoyed it a lot more than Modern Warfare, but there was times I hated it just as much as Modern Warfare, and I'm going to explain to you guys why I feel that way right now. So let's just start off with the one thing that really ground my gears throughout this weekend, and there was this eerie feeling about the game. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I think it might be something to do with the response curve. The game felt very clunky to me. I changed my sensitivity a trillion times because I just couldn't find one that sat right with me, and that might just be me, and it may be the fact that I've gone over to a linear curve for the last few games that I've played on console, Fortnite, Modern Warfare, so I know what to expect. But I felt like I was overcompensating, undercompensating, dependent on the range and weapon I was using. I tried my best to be consistent with the weapon, but it just seemed to keep on happening, and quite often with the 150 health also, which is something I believe in this game is just slightly too high. It is very obvious when you're not accurate with your targets, because you are genuinely punished even though you hit your first shots, but you don't maintain accuracy. So that was something that really was a gripe for me, and I'm hoping that there is something that was buggy, that it isn't just me. In terms of the graphics, now I've heard a lot of people complain about the game looks terrible and it's worse than Modern Warfare, and I can see where they're coming from, but graphically I don't personally believe the game looks that bad. In terms of polish, yes, something isn't right. Now, I believe because it's based on the Modern Warfare engine, the film grain element that you could turn off in that particular game has been left, and that's something you can't deselect. Also, I noticed throughout my playing sessions, when you turn motion blur off, it will automatically turn itself back on for the next game you play. So I don't know why that happens, but again, the game is in alpha. Now, there are a lot of people that are going to say, well, this is the final game. I don't think it is. I genuinely believe they have only had 2 years, and this is the best product they could get together for now, and we will need update after update after the release of the game to get it where it needs to be. That is a definite, in my personal opinion. But the graphics, they didn't look too bad, but they definitely need polishing, and it looks like a weird aspect ratio to me. I'm not quite sure, but overall, I feel like this is going to be heavily marketed, and I feel like more focus will be put in towards the PlayStation 5 and Xbox, the new one. I can't remember the name of it, sorry. I believe that's where the focus really is going to be, so I wouldn't be so disheartened at the moment unless you intend to stay on the PlayStation 4, but even then I still believe they will improve this game. Those of you who've played Call of Duty Ghosts, you will remember the palaver that we went through. If you had a PlayStation 3, the game looked, I'm gonna say, And then when I loaded it up on a PlayStation 4, it was much smoother. There was less bugs. It played much better. It was just overall a better game, and you could see where the focus had went with that particular game. And that brings it down to the cross-generation problem that Trakky have currently got to face. They've got to get this game ready for PC, PlayStation, for the Xbox One. Then they've got to get it ready for the new gens. It's just an impossible task to get this game ready on the release date. So let's talk about the maps, because I know this is going to be a big sticking point for a lot of you guys. And one of the worst maps that I had to speak about first is one that I just could not get on with. It's Miami. And you knew I was going to say it, didn't you? I feel like the game overall is just too dark. Even when I put my brightness up on my gaming screen and I turned the brightness up to maximum in the game, it still was a little dark. However, the color palette is very, very pleasing to the eye. And going back to the graphics, a lot of people complain, but it looks like a typical Treyarch game to me. It reminds me very much so of Black Ops 2 more than Black Ops 4. And that's something that I think should be praised, definitely. But in terms of the pixelated look of the game, that is definitely down to some refinements being needed. So back to Miami. I felt like Miami, overall, as the weekend progressed, played better on certain modes. It's definitely an objective-based map. It has to be hardpoint or domination. I'm a team deathmatch player. And that's the one mode, well, not the one mode, kill confirmed also. Those two game modes on Miami, unplayable for me. It was just horrible. It was just absolutely horrible. In terms of Satellite, my favourite map, and I hope for more open maps like that, because when you got a chopper gunner or your streaks, you were heavily rewarded. Moscow is another one which is quite similar in terms of Miami, but I found I was successful on that also in TDM and kill confirm. The only thing I would say about Moscow is it's too big for 6v6. Now I have heard rumours that these maps were more of the bigger maps in the 6v6 modes, and most of the maps are smaller than this. I don't know how true that is. I think Syndicate stated that, but I am interested to see more maps in this game. Going back to Scorestreaks though, one of the biggest worries that we had as a community, and I have to praise the community right now, because a lot of us are being very pragmatic and objective in how we have criticised this game. Yes, there's trolls. There's always trolls on the internet. But I've seen a lot of positive, constructive feedback, which is what I'm also giving here. But in terms of the score streaks, one of our biggest worries were noobs were going to, or bad players, whatever you want to call them, were going to get rewarded. And it seems to me that every time you got killed, it almost reset or made it even harder for you to obtain your streaks, and you really actually have to go on a streak to obtain the bigger streaks. And I feel like it isn't such a bad system after all. Is it one that I prefer? No, I much rather have my kill streaks. But in terms of the score streak system, I don't think it's actually that bad of an idea. It works quite well. I was able to get my streaks. I had to work really hard to get the bigger streaks. And if I didn't do so well, it would take me pretty much the whole game to get the bigger streaks. And sometimes I wouldn't get them at all. And that just is testament to how this hybrid system, there's been a misconception about it, and I hope that's being put to bed during the alpha. Now the snipers, I'm not going to spend too long on the snipers, because the snipers were obviously OP, and Tony Flame came out and said it himself that they have done this on purpose because they are trying to collect data, which I believe is what this whole alpha is about. It's about collecting data. I don't feel like this was the usual alpha that we get to like get your hands on the game and, oh yeah, I'm going to pre-order it. They were doing something here, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Is it they're trying to optimize the game on the PlayStation 4 because they already know that PlayStation 5, they've heavily optimized it already? Who knows? Who knows? But there are a few things missing from this game, like the prestige system. I hope that returns to the game. I really currently hate how long it takes to throw a frag. It's just so frustrating. You can throw your stun straight away. You can't do the same with your frag. It's just stupid. They've got to sort these sorts of things out and make it a little more fun for us, because at the moment it was quite mediocre for me, and I'm sad to actually have to say that. I didn't find myself playing it for hours. I found myself getting very frustrated. This could be down to the fact that I was forced to play game modes that I don't really like. In terms of the guns, the weapons, I found them useful. I really like what they've done with the gunsmith. I think it's better than the Modern Warfare version. And overall, I believed the detraction of the doors, the taking away of the mantling your weapon on a box or whatever you want to do, has really brought back some flow, and it was much more of a traditional Call of Duty. And I genuinely believe, just like Blackout, I didn't really put Blackout on the channel because I just didn't like Black Ops 4 in general, but I believe over time, after release, I think it will take a few months, but by Christmas, this game will be absolutely banging, and I've got high hopes for it overall. But at the moment, it definitely needs a lot of work. Guys, let me know down in the comment section, what was your favorite part of the Call of Duty Cold War alpha, and what was the worst part, and what would you like to see improve the most? Guys, there are many buttons you could hit, but the like and subscribe button, I hope they took your fancy. And as always, guys, don't forget to stay on the right track. Peace.